They always say to make sure that you don't have any stowaways when you go out to sea, as you'll never know what you might just be bringing along with you to the new lands. You'd think after the Black Death gets carried to Europe via boats, people would start checking for these things more often. Well, these newcomers to the lands of Epic SMP didn't quite think about that, as they've carried over some of everybody's favorite things. Plague, infected, rats. There is no way this can go wrong whatsoever. The Rats mod is a new mod within the server that was brought in over the past update throughout week 2, and this mod brings in these things called rats, as well as bringing in many other cool mechanics to the server surrounding these rats, pretty much making these rats as a new form of a slave. You can upgrade them, you can turn them into epic warriors, you can even turn them into goddamn dragons. That isn't going to end in any form of disaster. Nah, Ethan's house got burnt down a bit because Swagger Souls got a bit carried away with the dragon rat, but we don't talk about that.
How did you do that?
Oh, was there a dragon that just landed?
Yeah, it's my dragon. It's my dragon rat. Check him out.
Whoa! Sorry, I was muted for a sec. That's crazy.
That's kind of crazy.
Who wants to be the little test rat, little lab rat, if you will?
What does that mean?
Who volunteers? You volunteer, Craig? You volunteer? Are you sure? Are you sure, Craig? I can volunteer you if you want me to volunteer you. I'd be more than happy to volunteer you for it, Craig.
What am I?
Well, then it's a yes.
For? Okay.
Oh my god!
Okay.
Oh my god!
Oh, with one heart remaining. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Another part of the mod though is that when you breed these rats incorrect, for example you use just compacted garbage to spawn them, there's a chance that they can spawn with the plague. And when one rat spawns with the plague tends to spread really fast throughout the other pack of rats in the area, as we can see in this beautiful clip that I'll be showing on screen as talking. And as we can also see, once the rats have the plague, they tend to attempt to attack the player and try to give them the plague as well. Now, whilst the plague isn't really that much of a bad thing in the game itself, as most of the time all it actually does is just stop your natural ability of healing. So essentially, if you eat food to full saturation, you won't heal your health back. The only way you'll actually heal is via healing potions. That is how you would have to heal back after getting the plague, which ultimately overall doesn't lead to bad situations, or like there's nothing really that wrong with that. You just walk away from everything for a bit, for like 5 minutes until it goes. You can't drink milk to get rid of it. You can't exactly get rid of it without actual cures, which you can get in a various different methods of forms, be it from slugs or slug soups, or even the plague doctors that now spawn in villages within this mod. But one of the stickier things is that it disables the ability of your natural health regeneration, and we've already mentioned that. But think of it further on what could be done. You can make very simple traps that slowly kill the player, and if you give them the plague when they fall into one of these simple little traps, they won't be able to regenerate health whatsoever unless they have a potion on them. In today's video, we're going to be talking about ideas with what the lore may continue on with if it does choose to include these rats. And with how they were introduced into the server via a lore way, there's a very high likelihood that some players may actually integrate it into the lore itself of the server. So, let's go through some potential theories. Theory 1. The Ted Theory. The first theory comes from the knowledge we gained from the last lore video. In the last lore video, we discussed everything about the void that happened in week 1, and essentially how there's a potentiality that Ted is now possessed by some evil spirit that came from the void when he jumped into the first hole. This theory continues on with this story as Ted tends to start building closer towards the hole in his later streams. And so this theory goes on with that he will start to build a rat army around the void, starts collecting rats, dragon rats, warrior rats, all different types of rats containing all different types of weapons and armory, just to start gearing up an army, and before long will spread the plague throughout the entirety of the rat army and send the rats to conquer the server, giving everyone the plague, which I'm not 100% sure yet if the plague actually affects mobs other than rats and players themselves, but if it does, it could potentially cause a lot lot of different problems. As well as there's a thing called a bomber rat, which we already saw the destruction power of a dragon rat and its fire breathing ability. Just think about the potential destruction power that a bomber rat's gonna have in this server. Ted's evil possessed mind gets a hold of bomber rats to try and take over the server. Essentially, this sense of theory extends upon the lore of Ted being possessed by some form of evil. There is another theory though. Theory 2. The Swagger theory. In one of the first streams that Swagger does after the Rats mod gets introduced into the Epic SMP server, someone ends up donating to him live on stream, asking him a question. What if you spread the plague and sell the cure for a profit? This is definitely an interesting idea, not to say the least, and Swagger Souls didn't outright deny the idea and said that, hey, maybe I'll do that at a point in time. Maybe I want to do that. Maybe I will. Who knows? Type thing. So let's dive into a little theory on what might happen if he does this. Essentially, it will build up in a similar way to Ted, but instead of spreading the plague amongst the server and using deadly rats for the sake of spreading evil and killing people, it will be spreading the plague in order to just sell cure for profit. Which, as we can tell by how Swagger Souls taxes half the people who live within his walls, it's definitely just going to be for some more diamonds and then for some bonus stuff just because he can. And it probably wouldn't even last long, to say the least. At a point in time, after like everyone gets it once and everyone gets a version of the cure, they'll probably be able to remake it, or they'll realize the plague isn't actually that bad, or other things along those lines. But it definitely is an interesting idea nevertheless. So, let me know. What do you think? Do you think either of these potential theories hold any water to the potential lore and direction that this server may be going? Or do you think I'm talking complete and utter beeswax out of my goddamn mouth? Just let me know down in the comments down below, and tomorrow we'll be dropping the recap video as always, a day late unfortunately. There's things, personal life, blah blah blah, you understand. And I'd like to ask you guys to subscribe, turn on post notifications so you get to know when the next recap video drops and when the next bigger videos drop and when general update videos drop surrounding the server. And until next time guys, I've been your host, Crazy, and goodbye.